Thank you, Ruben. This was interesting experience. Actually, I've seen this heated discussion and people very much involved in the process. And actually, this is what we need. People enthusiastic, they're very inspiring, and they know what they want, and they're striving for finding out more and more about the things happening. My presentation would be dealing with internationalization of higher education challenges and perspectives. So, when it comes to internalization, actually, when it comes to internalization, today in Georgia, like I've said before, probably, I'm Irmā Grձelīdzene at Arkansas State University, Georgia. I'm an expert of accreditation and authorization for Georgia National Center of Quality Enhancement, and at the same time, higher education reform expert for Erasmus Plus Georgia. So I view the point from many different perspectives, which enables me to find out some challenges, what actually we have, and what perspectives could be in terms of internalization. I'm representative and the head of quality assurance service of my institution, and today internalization of an issue and internalization actually of the study programs and the institutions is really one of the most important things. It is in our accreditation list, I mean the standards of accreditation, so we have to fulfill internalization pattern as well. But what are considered to be actually, what is considered to be actually internalization? Like, I would be discussing it very briefly. Today it is the challenge of 21st century actually, and the main factors are process of globalization, market economy, and competitive market economy. Today we are not just dealing with the market, local market in Georgia or the region. What I was saying before, the world is becoming too small, and all our graduates are kind of potential employees, not only in Georgia, but around the world. So we have to think globally in this case, and act locally so that we can ensure internalization at our institutions. Due to globalization, educational institutions have to do several things, and they have to, I think, somebody is very loud over there. Sorry for that. Right, and when it comes to organizations themselves, we have to take into consideration that the institutions are required to follow, to lead the several steps. First one is improving quality of education. And the kind of picture or icon there is like looking out of the box. So if we had this very framed look at our education system, we have to look out of it. Otherwise, we would still stay in the same position we used to have, and our graduates would not be really employed in the competitive market. Today, a lot has been said about employment, actually, and about stakeholders and stakeholders' connection with programs. Actually, in Georgian case, I may say that, and probably in many other cases, because I've talked to many international experts, talking to employers is not an easy task, because not always we speak in one and the same language, but still we have to find some kind of links with them to try to ensure our quality of education. And we have to equip with the competencies appropriate for competitive market, definitely. So if we kind of make this comparison between national education and international type of one, or this internalization, our programs used to be created with consideration of national interests. Traditional teaching methods were used in most of the cases, and the material and the literature we used to have only in national language. And of course, national values were taken into account, and we have to strongly keep to that, like national values are of a real interest of ours. But at the same time, international education and having a look from that perspective makes us think about international educational programs create according to the not only local standards or national standards, but international standards as well. Innovative teaching methodology. Today we spoke a lot about teaching methods, and Paul was demonstrating how teaching should take place. And that is not just teacher talk, speaker and learner listener, but this should be kind of inspiring and learner studying by doing and many other methods of using to ensure the quality. Access to latest literature in the field. When we actually
I thought she had a question.
When actually we started working on the syllabi, that was really a big issue at the university. Like I've said that I'm a quality person there, and nobody likes quality assurance people actually at the university because you are obliging them to work on syllabi and curriculum and many others, and we were just saying to them, if you are based, I mean, if your literature is just in the native language, could there be kind of supplementary literature in foreign language as well, so that the student may have some option to read something else, and so internalization implies these aspects as well. And developing the citizen who will be ready to live in a multicultural society and diverse world and work in that multicultural and diverse labor market. Actually, when we're speaking about internalization, two aspects should be taken into account. This is transnational education as such, and then we have to talk about internalization of educational programs. There are different aspects of transnational education and why we came to that. Growing demand for quality education generally leads us to that direction. Growing interest of international, regional and national education systems and the support for those who wish to study. Actually, this is very much provoked by different type of sources, like national grants. Today in Georgia, a Minister of Education announces and said that there are special grants for those who are thinking about studying abroad for their MA and for their PhD degrees. But of course they should come back and serve the society. So this is kind of encouragement to go abroad and to see how the research is done there. Support from the foreign governments, like you see lots of lots of countries announcing lots of grants supporting and attracting the students from Georgia and not only. So there are some additional points on this view. International grants and private sector. We observe that many Georgian families, those who are well supported, they send their children to study abroad, and actually today this market is really very competitive. Like we have lots of Georgian institutions which we are thinking that are providing more or less good education, and at the same time we have the world around, which is kind of giving our population some other opportunities to study and go and study there and to have some scholarships and grants. And international projects, of course. Like we, international projects support a lot students' integration into some projects and going abroad, and not only students but the teachers, and I will be talking about that later. Transnational institutions and programs. We know that there are several transnational institution formats like franchising, joint programs, distance learning and branches. In the legislative system of Georgia, we don't have anything said about transnational education. So there is a program, campus program actually, going on promoting quality of transnational education and recognition in Armenia and Georgia right now. And when it comes to what type of kind of feedback and outcome the project has to have, Georgia agreed that we would be working on program level, and Armenia would be working on institutional level, because Armenia has these transnational education providers like Armenian American University, Russian Armenian and French Armenian University. In Georgia, we don't have any of that type yet. So all the institutions are accredited nationally. I know these institutions are accredited nationally and internationally as well. So when it comes to transnational institutions, we say that we just have programs and we don't have institutions as such. When we have to think about the methodology, what to use to ensure the quality, of course, these methods should be used like best practices, and we really do that, like sharing best practices and gap analysis and SWOT analysis and benchmarking, definitely. So what we did within Mahatma project, which is one of the most successful projects, we may say, via this international project, what we did actually was starting from a very starting point. We somehow did and thought about learning outcomes, and we designed learning outcomes together. So this was collaborative work type of, where we had best practices, where we had this SWOT analysis later on, and we are still doing and revising the programs and working on that. Forms of transnational education. Actually, we will have to start with student mobility. What happens in Georgia right now is that we see increasing number of students using and kind of using well and applying for international projects. And later on, I would probably show the figures from my concrete university, how it is developing and how many students are applying and how many students are actually going to other countries. The best students succeed in mobility. And what happens with Georgian institutions actually, we see that the best part of the student is going abroad. And then later on I would be talking about my institution, which is regional institution actually, and it has its own problems at the regional institution. So when you have a sufficient number of students, and out of these students you have concrete number of good students, and these good students just go abroad, yes, we have very good rate of them coming home for the first time, but you observe that they are coming and returning for the bachelor's degree and finishing bachelor in Georgia, but again going abroad and doing their masters abroad. Like you see this second kind of try not to stay in Georgia. Like they compare and they think that it's much better for them to go and study there. And main countries that they are kind of going, this is USA, Great Britain, Germany, France, and the decision is, of course, of different types. Reputation of the university and the education system definitely plays a role. Geographical location, language used for teaching, actually this is an issue, and I will be talking about that later on, and accessibility, of course. As for academic staff mobility, actually by Erasmus, we observe that more and more staff is using academic staff mobility, and actually we're very happy with that, because when the students come back and they say to you, I've seen something different abroad and I do need that type of class, then later on we need those type of teachers teaching those type of students. And that's why these programs are really perfect in case of, and in terms of teaching them and giving them this opportunity to go and come back with innovative forms and methods of teaching, evaluation forms and criteria, international experience of leading the course. Actually, these are really very important, because what we were discussing today, effective teaching and learning, and the other days, this is an issue actually. We observe that students are not attending classes a lot. They are just coming for midterm examinations and final examinations, and that's why my attitude to this assessment, which is kind of very strict, and what we are assessing everything, but we are not observing the process, and the process in most cases does not really go well, and we're thinking, what is the reason that the process is not going well as like we want it to be? And actually, when it comes to teaching and learning, we observe that we need teachers who would be teaching in a bit different way, that they shouldn't teach the students like the mind is a container and the student is a listener, but they should inspire them, they should make them study, and the student in the morning said, teach us how to study, how to learn. This is really very important, to teach them to learn not only in the class, but to learn independently and to learn from all the environment that is happening around you. Not only class, but the society and everything that is around you. Internationalization of educational program. We came here, like in Kırşehir State University actually, years ago, we didn't have any course that was taught in English except technology, which was, of course, in English. But actually, we asked the teachers and the professors, could you please just list the courses that could be taught in English, so that we offer some international students. Probably they would not sit for the whole semester and for the whole program, but they would choose some courses from here and there and there. And actually we observe that time by time they are improving their courses. They are thinking about improving it. And you know why? Because we have little by little more incoming students. And when the incoming student comes, you have to support him or her with correspondent course with correspondent language. And Mahatma, we have right now 2 English programs going on. One is medical science, medical studies, actually medicine, which is really very nice, and this is from business point of view very attractive, because we have lots of Nigerian students from Iraq and India and many others coming to study medicine. But at the same time, this Mahatma project, which was initiated by Mahatma, we have Master for Leadership and Management in Higher Education, and we observe rising number of students coming to this program as well. And the other days I was saying that we are attracting international students here as well. International students are really interested because Kutaisi is located, in a very nice place, and the teaching is good, and the environment is good, friendly, atmosphere, and supportive, and cheap, of course. So we see that many students are coming, but actually not only this is a kind of benefit. Mandatory and additional literature, I talked about that before. Today we are offering our students literature in English, in French, in German, in Russian language. So this is some more opportunity for them to have better view about the subject, about the course. Academic, staff and student participation in international projects. This is really great opportunity, Ruben, actually, to have this type of collaboration. I mentioned probably before as well that Armenians and us are working well in international projects. We're studying a lot from each other because kind of environment is the same, but the reality is a bit different, and you see it from many different perspectives, and the students acquire much more knowledge from this experience as well. So organizing this type of conferences and sharing ideas are always really very welcome, because we understand what problems we have and what problems you have and what would be the way to success, and this is part of internalization, of course. This is part of sharing experience. Articles in peer-reviewed journal, this is big issue we have to think about generally, because research is the point that should be taken a very special attention to. Kind of, we have to pay huge attention to research, which has to be somehow supported in different way as well. But having this joint program and having this opportunity to cooperate in the research as well, this is perfect. And adopting international mechanisms for educational programs, planning, creating, evaluating, and improving process. So we observed this through Mahatma project. Like, this was good experiment. We started designing with collaboration, then we started implementing it on local level. Then some instruction, there was international review of the program, and now we are reviewing again. Like, you see how it develops day by day, and how many stakeholders actually are employed in the development of the process. Not only designing, but in improvement of the program, and evaluating of the program. I was talking about my institution actually, and this very small chart gives very type of idea how it raised since 1997 to 2014, and then we have some figures for 2015. We observed students going a lot. This was the first year. You see for the very first table that the students going and using this opportunity is rising since 2010 to 2014, but 2015, this was the year new for Erasmus Plus, as we know, and credit mobility was announced and different type of points. Of course, we see that not as many projects we had actually at university, so it is declining. As for the staff, you had to see how resistant the staff used to be. Why are you going, or the heads of the department? I myself benefited a lot from Erasmus Plus staff mobility. I was teaching at Jagiellonian University in Poland for a while, and this was perfect experience, I have to say. But when I was going there and coming back with new experience, lots of people were saying, did you study anything there? Was there anything new that you acquired, or any new skills? Like, they were very sometimes ignorant to the point and sometimes resistant to the point, but actually they found that there are some benefits. And these benefits are, you are with new type of skills and knowledge and attitude, actually. Attitude to students, attitude to the colleagues, attitude to teaching, learning, and everything. So we see that staff is actually applying more and more. Though I will be talking about language competence a bit later. And the project, yes, the day before yesterday, I've said that we are really very open to all types of projects and kind of happy to participate and applying not only Erasmus, but MCC, this is Millennium Challenge, and many other projects that are funded sometimes by this international grants, sometimes actually by national grants as well, and funding is rising as well. So I've probably talked about all these things, exchange study programs and components, and assessment forms and criteria, and role of international projects, and articles published in peer-reviewed journals, and adaptation of international mechanisms for planning, creating, evaluating, and improving of educational studies. What obstacles are there? Foreign language competence among both staff and the students. Really, this is an issue. Actually, we started with the staff. The rector of the university had an initiative to teach those who wanted to study English charge-free. Unfortunately, we didn't have many people applying for that. I'm head of quality assurance service, as I've said, and we have 9 faculties and 9 heads of quality assurance services. And I've said, for the international conference, which is upcoming in April, I want you at least to hear and to contact with some people who will be visiting us. So that's why I will organize these charge-free classes for you in English, and you have to. This is not your option, you have to attend. And you say, this is really kind of motivation for them, this is obligation, and that is motivation as well. Like, they're attending, and I see the progress time by time, how they are progressing in English as well, because this is really huge opportunity everybody should use, and the students as well. I would like to present kind of short project here. I've said before, we have this tutors institute, like elder students teach younger ones. This is within my office. And we have international students from Austria, and she said, I see that students do not speak good English. Can I propose a project? And I've said, yes, definitely. Can I propose that I will be teaching, and some others who know English well from English Philology Department, the students would be teaching other students. And that would be fun kind of experience for us and benefit for those students. It works perfectly. I see the students attending the classes with their peers, and I see them progressing in this case. So everything needs kind of motivation and showing that this is possible. And if you don't kind of follow up the needs, you will stay behind and you will stay in the box and never look out of the box. No skillful staff enough to have winning international projects. And I'm always thinking about this, that we have to have staff who is writing these winning projects, because this is recruitment, this definitely needs recruitment. No defined strategy for promoting internalization. Like I talked a lot about institutional internalization, internalization on department level, course level, program level, staff level, student level, but the institution itself, in our case, does not have this defined strategy, how to go, what is the strong point to rely on and to develop on. Elder staff not willing enough to participate, I talked about that, and less opportunity to promoting leading international research. I mean, this is really a great problem because of due to language competence and kind of fair, would we be okay with that? And motivation again. So if there is no motivation to be part of it in terms of career development, in terms of salary, we have to say about that as well. Of course, it will never develop. And being regional university, which is obstacle and which could be perspective as well, because as far as we know, regional universities do a lot for the regions, but actually we do not benefit much from the region. So the other days we were thinking that, yes, we are having this staff always ready to do analysis, always ready to teach, to recruit, to train people from the region, but we never benefit from them. Actually, my university is a state university with 11,000 students, and it is called State University, but actually last year the amount of money we benefited from the state, that was 7,500 levies, and we bought several books for medical faculty, and that was all. Actually, this is self-funded university, which is at the regional. So what we are thinking that regions should be more involved in the process of development of the university, as the university would support development of the region. So this link should be really in different ways kind of seen. Constant training, these are only perspective. We have to think about internalization, increasing motivation, and mapping the detailed strategy to promote the on forms of the internalization, promoting and advertising. Really, kind of, we are always talking about the websites. Our websites are not friendly in most of the cases, unfortunately. So we have to make it more friendly to attract not only our students from Georgia, but around the world, and in neighboring countries at least, and updating contacts. Even British say that not always it matters what you know, but it matters who you know. So that's why these kind of contracts are really very important to promote internalization. Who will benefit from all this? Of course, system, institution, and program would benefit. And this is institutional development. We observe during these 5 years how the institution, concrete units have been developed. And academic personnel, knowledge, competence, competitiveness, and high role of employment, and the students and the society definitely would benefit, and the country, because we would rise well type of citizen with national values, which would be competitive not only in Georgia, but worldwide, we think. Okay, thanks a lot. I hope it was not too long.
Thank you, Irma.
Thanks.
Our experience going well because we have, I think internationalization begins from the neighbor countries, yes, from region, and after it go further to countries which are far. My belief is that like in Europe, sometimes from one country to another country, experts going by train. We like to do the same because our internationalization begins from the flight, from the airplane. I like to have internationalization, then we will going by the train. Thank you.
Or by taxi.
Taxi. It's very helpful, and for it now we invite Georgian experts to participate in our expert database, and we will select in the future program accreditation Georgian experts from Georgia. Any question? Do you have any question? Because I know that in Armenia there are universities here sitting, they have students from Georgia. Yes?
That's interesting.
Not many.
They have students. And I met some students in agricultural university. They studied from Georgia. And in Russian university we have Georgian students. Sometimes they concern that it's expensive in Georgia, for if we are here, etc. But in agriculture it's okay because the landscape is the same. In Georgia, in Armenia. Question? We have 10 minutes. Irma.
Okay, just excuse me, I will have my headset if the question is going to be in Armenian.
I'll speak in English.
Good, thank you. Unfortunately, I don't know
This is a little bit
yet.
strange.
It's your near future.
This is a little bit strange because it was a time when Georgian and Armenian communicated in Russian. You remember this time?
I do, but not my Russian, unfortunately, not as good.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, unfortunately, I cannot conduct it.
You know, thank you very much. It was really impressive presentation.
Thank you.
Besides, it was very useful because very close situation to Armenia, you know. Every time you stress on motivation, really. Thanks to Mr. Chochan, in our country created some field, some scene, when we are discussing about efficiency of education. We never talk about this 7 years ago. But paradox is that as much as we are talking about efficiency, the efficiency is worse year by year in our university. At least in my university, which is Architecture and Construction University. And I have to say, unfortunately, that, as Paul said, long term we need to create from our mouths of students, to create some different kind of giraffes, different kind of walks of folks, etc. And besides, we have not motivation in the life. We can find in each student's specific nature. We can learn them in this way, by specific nature. But then we will get problem. They will get problem in life because very small market in the country. And I agree absolutely with my colleague, physics colleague. He told that physics are very well working in banks. And unfortunately, economists are working in stores, I don't know, in different kinds, which is not close to the specialty which we provided to them. You see, something is wrong in Dutch country, let's say so. This is like slang, sorry. But anyway, I think that the market as of today in our country doesn't plan something regarding to the students' production.
Do you have a question?
That's why I asked you this is
All of us have a long speech, we will have
okay, sorry. That's why I asked you at the very beginning. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Microphone. Sorry.
Thank you. Just very small comments, like to make our students feel like lions and tigers. We have to feel the people who could create this type of people first. I mean, first of all, I think the teachers should be trained a lot.
But Paul do not told that a mouse should become a giraffe. He told that we need in market mouse, but experienced, giraffe, again experienced.
Both.
Let's give more
Ես ներկայացնում եմ Գեղարքունիքի տարածաշրջանային պետական քոլեջը, ճիշտ ասած իսկապես շատ հետաքրքիր էր ձեր ներկայացումը, ուղղակի մի հարց ունեմ, դուք երբևէ օգնել եք, քանի որ ես միջին մասնագիտական եւ արհեստագործական կրթության ոլորտի ներկայացուցիչ եմ, ունեք նման օրինակ, որ օգնել եք միջին մասնագիտական կրթության ուսանողներին դուրս գալ միջազգային ասպարեզ կամ տարբեր երկրներից ունեք ուսանողներ, փորձել եք կամ այդ կրթության ոլորտի ներկայացուցիչներին օգնել, որպեսզի իրենք կարողանան դուրս գալ, ասենք դասախոսները գնան վերապատրաստեն, կամ նման օրինակի փորձ ունեք, թե ոչ, ինձ դա է հետաքրքրում։
Sorry, I think I need some kind of clarification in that case because the question was kind of different flavor for me. College in Georgia, like we have colleges, just vocational colleges.
Do we have communication with colleges?
Yeah, okay, I will answer that question. Like these vocational colleges are really flourishing right now, and we have very big emphasis on vocational education as such. But there is a gap in Georgian legislature, and everybody agrees on that. If the student goes to the college, unfortunately he has never any chance to go to higher education then later. He has to go back to school, finish school, and then start again. So this gap creates not continuous, not a very good chance for lifelong learning actually. But if we, sorry, okay, sorry, if actually we are thinking about this lifelong experience, surely we have to do more emphasis. I'm the member of a supportive group for Quality Enhancement Center of Georgia, those who are training teachers for vocational education, and we see this very interesting kind of attitude, like the teachers for vocational education are emphasizing more practical values. They are more teachers for practical skills, and at the university, so mostly this is academic. Actually, when it comes to vocation, if I'm not shifting from the question, at the university, at my university, we have 173 accredited educational programs, bachelor, master, and PhD program. At the same time, we have 56 vocational programs of 4th and the 5th level. So this is kind of, we can't say that we are very happy with that, because this is totally different experience. But as the market actually has this kind of employability, we thought that it would be nice to have this vocational education. And our professors are teaching there as well. But actually we are always saying that academic staff is not as good in teaching vocational education as a specialist who is really very skillful. Like many academic staff of ours would say that, I know the technology, how to bake the bread. This is good, but she does not know the way how to do it, how to make a dough. So there is a kind of gaps in this sphere, and we're thinking about that.
Thank you, Irma. Next question.
Thank you, Irma. Edith Solomonian from National Erasmus Plus Office. It was very useful to hear this information from a quality assurance department specialist, because internationalization of higher education, first of all, is a tool to improve the quality of local education, yeah? And then we go international. So my question would be, one, personal to you, because you mentioned you profited from Erasmus Plus mobility as a professor, as an academic staff. What was your experience when getting back to the university? How did you manage to internalize your skills, your new methodologies and tools that you've acquired abroad? Was the academia ready to accept it, and how you did it? And my second question would be, if you could name just 3 challenges, very simple challenges of hosting international students in your university, please. Thank you.
Right, concerning that will be very brief actually, concerning my experience, because I'm pretty much sure.
We have 3 minutes.
Yeah, everybody has participated in one of these type of programs. Actually, when I came back to Georgia with all this kind of new experience of teaching and doing research. Research is research is yours. You are doing this research, and if you're doing it in Poland or you're doing it in Georgia, kind of methodology is one and the same, but in terms of teaching, definitely there was quite totally different experience. And so what I was saying, this internalization helps you a lot to find out what type of auditorium you're talking to, and mentality is of a huge importance. While in Poland, the students were taking just notes, and I was thinking to myself, do they understand whatever I'm saying? One day, and the second day, and the third day, but at last, during the quiz, they were having so nice, so precise questions, and so, while in Georgia, you see the class interacting a lot. Like today, everybody wants to say something, everybody wants to express their opinion. Like when you come back, yes, definitely you have this opportunity within the institution, within your class, to integrate all the methodology and all the skills you acquired there to implement in your class. As for the challenges that we face with the international students, first of all, this is, I mentioned probably, these are the courses they want to be in English, and unfortunately not all the courses are in English. So we are offering them some kind of substitution, and probably if the person comes for fundraising or something, we offer something that could include terms of fundraising. this is one problem. Another problem which I had actually heard from the students, this is they want to be integrated in the class. They don't come actually just to listen to the lecturer, to attend the class, and this is not tutoring one by one, I mean one-to-one. They are asking, yes, we are sitting with you, for instance, for this curriculum development, but actually we want to be with the class as well. Could you suggest some other classes where English is spoken and where we can also be integrated within the society and feel like a real student within the group? The third challenge, probably, this is our, yes? So,
thank you very much, because that talk is very long, because they really impact of the Erasmus Plus office is very high in country, in Georgia, in Armenia. We can talk one day. We can have one more conference for that. And we will have many presenters there.
Can we ask a
Question? Do you have one last question? 1 minute only, but not at all. Rector of private university, who have the students.
Ես նույնիսկ հարց չեմ տալիս, ուղղակի քանի որ մեր զեկուցողը Վրաստանից է, տեղեկատվություն ուղղակի տան, որ իսկապես բանոթոչյանը պես նշեց, մեր մոտ նախորդ տարի ավելի շատ էին 143 ուսանող ունեինք Վրաստանից, հիմա կրճատվել է մի փոքր 120 գարդիկ 118 կարծեմ, բայց նրանք հիմնականում հայեր են, ունենք նաև վրացի ուսանող մի հոգի Քանթարյան Միխայելի, որը փայլուն տիրապետում է հայերի և մասնակցում է դասընթացներին և ուղղակի վերջին նախադասությունը նրանց համար մենք կազմակերպենք նաև վրացերեն դասընթացներ, որպեսզի հետ վերադառնալուց Վրաստան կարողանան իրենց պետական լեզվով մասնակցել համապատասխան աշխատանքների իրականացնելու գործընթացներին։ Շնորհակալություն։ Սա ուղղակի տեղեկատվություն և եթե կարողանանք համագործակցություն ստեղծել Վրաստանի հետ, շատ ավելի ուրախ կլինենք դրանով։
Շնորհակալություն պարոն Աղաբյան, շնորհակալություն բոլորին։ Հիմա ճաշեն միջումը, ուրեմն կարող եք իջնել։ It's lunch time now. We have a lunch on the first level. Now our people will guide you there. And after lunchtime, we will have a very interesting panel discussion about employer engagement in the education. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So for the lunch, I will have to ask you to come.
Please.